This presentation is on BIM 360 Design. It's going to be on our cloud design platform for Revit. My name is Samuel McAllister. I'm a senior technical sales specialist based in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, and I cover the Australia and New Zealand markets. Today we're going to be looking at BIM 360 Design, but I wanted to start off with just the BIM 360 portfolio, just to explain where we're going with a number of our applications that we've had for a while. What's new is that our next generation of BIM 360 platforms are all going to be built on the Forge engine. What's important here is the Forge engine allows third-party users to create APIs for the platform. Just like you have APIs in Revit, Forge will be the engine that allows this to happen with BIM 360. Today we'll be talking about BIM 360 Design, which is our authoring package. It is the next evolution on from our Collaboration for Revit, our C4R package. We also have for our VDC managers or people who are using tools like Navisworks for clash detection, BIM 360 Glue, which works with our Revit and Navisworks packages. Just bear with me. And we have our BIM 360 Build, which currently is named as BIM 360 Field, and we have our Get to the Point software for doing point layouts and planning software within the space as well. We do provide a preview of BIM 360 Build, which is available to test at the moment. And then finally, we have Building Operations, and this is under our BIM 360 Ops platform, which we've had out for a couple of years. So this is a tool that allows you to actually manage the as-built building information modeling data via an online dashboard or via your mobile device to start creating tickets for running the operations of that facility. Now, because this is all connected via Forge, we're using tools like BIM 360 Docs to track the documents as we go through the different processes of design, build, and operate. And we're also looking at the project data and learning from the project data for analytics and insight, which moves into our machine learning initiative to capture information and then advise people when they start to do new projects of similar natures. So today we're going to be focusing on BIM 360 Design, and I just wanted to start off with what's in the BIM 360 Design package. For anybody who's used Collaboration for Revit in the past, this gave you the Collaboration for Revit tool or the service within your Revit platform with BIM 360 Team as your hub. In the next generation of our design collaboration tool, we have what's called Revit Cloud Work Sharing. It's the new name for it. It is Collaboration for Revit, the same sort of look and feel within your Revit interface. We have Desktop Connector, which is going to allow you to sync non-RVT files through to your cloud collaboration space. We have this both for Team and for BIM 360 Docs. Document management, we have BIM 360 Docs. This comes with the package, however you can purchase it separately, and we provide different packs. Should you want to share out the software with your clients, you can get 1, 25, 100 name user packs should you want them to access some of the data on the cloud. And we still provide you with BIM 360 Team for anybody working on legacy Revit versions before 2018.3. So just to explain the compatibility here between using the Team platform, the BIM 360 Team platform, and the Design Collaboration platform. With Revit 2015, 16, and 17, this is where you're going to use BIM 360 Team as your hub and Collaboration for Revit. Our next generation here, which is available now, is Revit Collaboration Work Sharing and BIM 360 Docs as the hub. And this is from Revit 2018.3 and onwards. So if you're starting your project in 2018.3 or 2019, you'll have access to use this new cloud work sharing of BIM 360 Design. So to explain the steps on how this works, for anybody who's been using Collaboration for Revit, it's a very simple setup where all the data sits within one location inside of BIM 360 team. When we look at the new setup of BIM 360 Design, we have a couple of different steps here to follow. So if we're the architect persona or an interior designer or structural engineer, we will start off our project in Revit and we're going to initiate our Revit Cloud work sharing. This means that once it's up into the cloud on BIM 360 docs, you can start syncing central, publishing that information, and it's going to update inside of the cloud hub. With the design collaboration component, you publish your sets from Revit. So whenever you come to publish information, you can create a number of sets for your sheets or your model views. And this can be reviewed inside of design collaboration as a package. So the package is a tool that allows you to review the data before you choose to consume it. So we're doing our Sync with Central and Revit Cloud work sharing. When we're ready to publish it, it goes into the design collaboration environment. We share out a package, and then the person who wants to review it, who's consuming that package, will open up the model inside of the design collaboration cloud environment and approve and consume it. So there's a two-step process of sharing and approving consuming. And then this is the verified accepted model that we link back into our Revit Cloud work sharing environment. So this is the basic overview of the new step moving from Collaboration for Revit to Revit Cloud work sharing and design collaboration. Because it's built now on BIM 360 docs, we have a very powerful document management tool that allows you to control the folders. You can also see the folders now from Revit. You can give numerous users different permissions to access the folders. You can also publish or copy that information across to other folders for maybe a contractor or a fabricator wanting to create issues or track information, the progress of the model. And finally, you can do reviews with clients or other stakeholders where they can do reviews and markups inside of the model instead of having to print it out, have those reviews and markups and that feedback all within the single source of truth where you can capture the information, not having it sitting in somebody's hard drive or network storage or another platform. So that's the basic overview. We're trying to move away from the old way of doing things where we would download a file from an FTP site or a Dropbox. We would archive a copy. We would link or overwrite the existing file that we've got linked into our Revit environment. We would then print it out. We would then red pen it, review it. Then we'd scan it, PDF it, and then email it and CC it out to certain people and then maybe upload it to another FTP site or Dropbox. What we're trying to do is move away from this old way of collaboration to this new way where you can open up the information from the cloud on any device, web browser, iPad, iPhone, mobile device, mark it up on that device using the tools that are available here to simply mark up and then save it, and this information automatically gets distributed out to other teams who have permissions to those folders. So there's none of this having to download, link, print, red pen, scan, PDF, and email it out to other people. You can just open it up on your mobile device, mark it up, save it, and those people get instant email notifications of the changes or requests for further information. An example pain point that I've personally seen with customers using the traditional workflow is a customer had to spend 4 hours every Friday downloading all the files from an FTP site or a Dropbox site, archiving copies, and then taking all those files and linking them in. It was 4 hours every Friday on a very important project. This equates to, out of a 48-week work week per year, 192 hours. And if your charge hour rate is $100 per hour, you're looking at a lot of money. And if you look at the time that that user is spending per year, it's 4.8 weeks of their life that they're doing mundane downloading, archiving, and linking. So if you're wanting to speed this up and you need a justification for the cost of implementing a real-time cloud collaboration software, this is a good little stat to work off. So with that, just the quick premise, the overview, I want to get into the workflow demo here. And again, just a reminder, anybody who has any questions, please type them in and we'll ask them towards the end. I can see there's a few hands raised as well. We'll do our best to answer the questions at the end. So getting into the workflow demo here, I want to start off with the outline of the workflow just so you get familiar with the process that we have. It's a little bit more detailed than what we typically had with our Collaboration for Revit BIM 360 design workflow. So we're going to go through the process of creating a project in your account admin, then explain some of the admin functions such as assigning services. So the one we'll be doing today is design collaboration. We'll be creating folders, and I'll be explaining the best way to create the folders. However, it's not necessarily one way to create folders. We'll explain the difference where you can do it in design collaboration or inside of docs. Adding members to the project and setting up permissions, and then managing those team members inside of your project admin. So this will be the first step. We'll initiate the collaboration, and there is the option to use the high trust or the low trust workflow. So for anybody currently working in the Collaboration for Revit with BIM 360 team environment, this is high trust. This means that anybody you invite into it can access all the folders. There's no permissions to lock things down. That is still available here. You can open it up and invite all these people in if you highly trust them. But the idea behind this is if you're working with numerous other stakeholders and maybe you don't trust them or don't want them to access certain folders, you can set up a low trust environment and you can have a couple of steps for verifying the data before you choose to consume it. So this is the setup, and the workflow we're going to go through is creating sets to publish. So we do our single centrals inside the Revit environment. We publish the information in sets. We create packages inside of the design tool, and then we consume that package to be loaded back into our Revit environment. We also have a couple other tools that allow you to do model compare. So if you want to look at what's changed in terms of what's been added, deleted, or modified, we can run the compare versions, and this will graphically show us what's changed in the model before we choose to consume it. You may see some other diagrams online like this one. This one's probably a little bit more complex, perhaps to get your head around. This is talking about Team A and Team B, so the collaboration between a architectural and structural engineer. We have over here the architectural folders, which we'll see when we run the demo videos. We have the root directory of the architecture folder, and we have a consume folder. Within that consume folder, we have structural copies. We have a shared environment here with structural folder, and then we have the structural published versions here over here on the right. So if you look at the architects wanting to consume the structural engineer's data, here are some of the publishers. So it does version control where it goes V1, V2, V3, and so on. At a point, the structural engineer can choose to share out these versions as packages. So if we just follow V3 here, they will publish it out as a package. It shows up as package 2. This sits within the shared environment. So everybody has permission. We give permissions for everybody to go into the shared environment in the structural folder. The architect will review this, verify it, approve it, and then when they approve it, it gets consumed, and this will go into the architecturals environment in the consume folder and the structural folder. So this is another basic diagram, but it just shows you the process of how you can review that information in the shared environment and then consume it. And to give you a bit of an understanding of why this is working the way it's working, and you don't have to follow this directly. Not everybody's going to use that workflow. They may want to work more in a high trust environment. But this is following the PAS 1192 framework. It's the British framework for how you will be sharing data. So if we look at a couple of authors here, so the two blue folders here, this is in essence is like a structural engineer and an architect, and the work in progress folders where we're working in Revit and we're doing sync essentials all within the Revit Cloud Work Sharing environment. Now, when we're ready to share it, we want to share it inside of the client shared area. So this is the shared folder inside of BIM 360 Design. This is where we will verify the design data, we'll share it with other project teams, there'll be ongoing design development. When we're ready to consume it, we hit the authorize button. This is the published documentation, this is the consumed data, that's the one that's going to be linked into your Revit environment. So you can see here from the green published documentation graphic here, this has been approved and this is the data that's going into the work in progress files. So this is the approved published documentation. Again, you can also archive that information as well if you want to keep it on your local network. And then finally, we've gone through the process where we have the information exchange being accepted and we're tracking all those updates. So there is a lot of information online about this. There's a much more detailed PDF about this, but this is just loosely the PAS 1192-2 and how our software is working with that framework. Just a quick note on high trust versus low trust. So for anybody who's been using BIM 360 Team with Collaboration for Revit, you'll notice that when you go from your Revit to publish into your folders inside of Team, you can't see the folders. So you may have created folders inside a Team during the setup, but you're not going to see them in Revit. You can't control the work in progress or verified information, and all team members can access all folders. So this is high trust. In low trust, this is where we have the Revit Collaboration work sharing built on the BIM 360 Docs platform. You can control the permission to all the folders. People have 5 different permission levels where you can access certain folders or do certain things with the data in terms of viewing them or uploading to them. And only team members with those permissions can access those folders. They're only going to see those folders. So let's go through the workflow now. This is the screen you're going to see when you create your project admin setup. If you've recently purchased BIM 360 Design or you're moving from Collaboration for Revit and Team to BIM 360 Design, you may need to go to your Autodesk.manage account and fire off your contract. There's a form to fill in where you put in your contract number to kick off that service. If you have any questions on that, please reach out to your account manager or your reseller on doing that. It's a quick step, but it just gets the software up and running with your contract. And then you're going to be able to see this when you log into your BIM 360 space under the account admin. So this is a sample one that we set up. We gave it a project name, a project type. You can also look at giving it construction types, values, start and end dates. Wherever there's an asterisk, you're required to fill it in. This relates back to how the data is connected onwards to other platforms. So you don't have to do this all at the beginning, but as you start to build up your project and then collaborate with your contractors, your fabricators, all of this will be continued on the project. You also need to activate and assign services. So over here on the left are the 2 services you need to activate. Number 1 is document management. This is BIM 360 Docs, which is your hub. And then down the bottom here is design collaboration. I can make myself the admin. I'm going to control it, but you can also invite in other members of other companies that you're collaborating with and have their BIM managers be admins as well. So you can invite them in and they'll be able to control things within this document management environment. We also have access to our traditional BIM 360 products like BIM 360 Glue for model coordination. However, we've provided access to our next generation or our preview of model coordination, which replaces BIM 360 Glue, should you want to test it. However, BIM 360 Glue will have all the functionality that you typically need for clash detection. The model coordination is very limited, but we are giving users access to some of these next generation tools early. So this is a quick recorded video. It's just going to be easier to do the video than do it live. Some of the tabs that we have here is the companies, the services, the members. You can also get companies access to folders or services, so you can speed up the time if you've got the list of the email database. You can sign up to the company. Some of the tools you can start to access now, you've got BIM 360 Field and then Field Management. So if we want to add the new Field Management as a service to this particular project, we can do this and add a user, add their company, and make them an admin. We can also make other users admins inside this environment. So all of this is going into our connected BIM environment. So when we set up that project with the location, the time zone, the design, build, procurement, and we add these different users, this data is going to move from our design collaboration environment into our field environment. To launch into that actual platform, this is just the field tool, we can then start to set up our permissions. So we have this very simple setup where you can set up the admins, you can click on the document management, design collaboration, or field management if you're bringing that across, and then start to set up the permissions on who's going to be able to access certain types of uses or roles here. So next thing I want to do here is look at our folder creation. What I'd recommend is you do this inside of design collaboration. Some customers I've met with have done this in docs, but it doesn't create that PAS 1192 type framework with the share to consume folder. So I recommend just doing it following this out-of-the-box 101 workflow of doing it inside of design collaboration. What you're going to have is when you activate that design collaboration module, you're going to have the option to add teams. So a structural engineer, a hydraulics engineer, an architect, it could be a company name. You add these in here inside of the Add Teams tool, and what this will do is it will default locate these project folders to the project files location, and it will create a shared folder and a consume folder inside of the team persona here. So you can locate them in other folders that you maybe already have created, but this is just the recommended out-of-the-box workflow, doing it all in project files. So as I go through and add the different personas, the architect, interior design, MEP, it will create the shared folder, and you'll see a little plus sign next to them, meaning that they have they're set up for the design collaboration. You can also create just standard folders here for non-Revit files. This is just for things like Desktop Connector, so for Navisworks, NWC, cache files, or CAD files. All of this can be located in that project file location as well. So here's the workflow on how to do it. So you've initiated your services, document management, design collaboration, and we're adding teams. So what's to note here is we give it a name. It could be prefixed by a number or by a company. We're just adding an interior design team to the project. And down the bottom here, the default location is added to the project files. If you've gone ahead and set this up inside of Docs already and created your own folders, you can still navigate to them. And here's the folder that we've set up. To find your way around the application, the 9 square box up there on the left-hand corner is your tool to flip between different services. So now I'm flipping from the setup into document management. And you can see in the project files here, it's created the architect, the interior design, MEP, and also the shared folders. So this is the basic way to set it up inside of Design Collaboration, and it will appear inside of Docs. Now, there are two components to the BIM 360 Docs tool. There's plans and project files. The key one to focus on here for Design Collaboration is project files, and this is also important for the desktop connector. So plans is for managing, downloading, reviewing the latest set of construction documents, whether it's 2D or 3D. You can just work purely in PDF for the space. Project files is for any project document, including the design data, so the Revit data, but also photos, reports, schedules, other information you want to load in from Desktop Connector to use for Revit. It's all going to go in here. So going to go through how we add members. So we've gone through and we've done the account admin, we've activated our services, we've set up some folders for our project, and now we want to add users or companies. So when we go to add it, again, we're adding a bit more information here. We can put in the email address, assign it to a company, and then give them a roles. There are some default names for the roles, so contractor, architect, structural engineer. And then over here on the right is where you assign them as a member or a project admin to the service. So if you assign them to a project admin, down the bottom here, this is showing up as everybody being a project admin. This will turn into a yellow cog for all these different services. If you just want them to be a member, so if you're the BIM manager of your company and you just want them to be a member of Design Collaboration or BIM 360 Docs, you will just click on the graphic underneath the symbol here, and it will show up as a blue person, not the yellow cog. If you make them a yellow cog, they're going to have admin access and access everything. So simple things like that, just for the setup and adding members. Once you've set them up to access the services, so what we've got over here in the project admin is they're accessing the services as a member. We then want to also give them permissions to upload, view and upload, edit, or control information within the folders. So you're going to go to the folders inside the platform, and you're going to invite those people into those folders. So you've gone through and set them up in the project and given them the services. You're going to type in that person's name, or it could be by company. So you want to invite a whole company into a folder. You can do it that way as well to speed it up. And here you'll have the option to click on the permission level. So there is just a basic one here, which is upload only. So it's like a blind upload. And then the next ones are outlined here in terms of view plus upload, view plus upload and edit, which is the one that you would need for the publishing from Revit, publishing assist from Revit, and then finally control that relates to your admin on the project. So the workflow in terms of initiating collaboration on models is still the same. Inside of Revit, so this is 2019 or for 2018.3, you go to the Collaborate tab. Now you have to have the service turned on to get this up and running. You hit Collaborate, and it will ask you whether you want to collaborate within your local area network or wide area network if you're using Revit Server. This is the option you have for 2019 inside of BIM 360 Document Management. You choose this, and then you can navigate to those folders you want to publish to. So this is, for anybody who hasn't used publish settings, hopefully you all have used publish settings, the settings that we want to take up certain views and sheets to go into the model review or the sharing package component. So sometimes you maybe don't want to share all the information, or the person you're sharing the information doesn't need to see every single view or every single sheet in your Revit model. They may just want to be looking at the basement, or in this instance we're setting up a publish setting for the elevations. So we just want to review the elevations. We'll navigate down to those elevation views and maybe those elevation sheets. We'll select them from the views and we create that as a set. So every time we go to publish it and we have these sets included, this information will go into the BIM 360 document environment. First thing to do though before you do all this is to sync with Central. So always sync to Central. Try and do it every 20 minutes if you can. If you're disciplined, add comments because this can help should you ever want to roll back a version. It's going to save to your local cache copy, reload latest from other people who've been syncing to Central within your work in progress environment. And then it's pushing the delta changes up into the common data environment for this Revit model. So that's the basic workflow. And now when we're ready to publish it, so this is still sitting within the Revit work in progress environment. This is still within your own group who are syncing to Central in the architecture space. We now want to go through the process of pushing the information into the common data environment inside of Docs and Design. We want to be able to push it up with those sheets. So you need to go to the Manage, navigate to your project, and publish it. And that's going to go from the RVT file format to the large model view file format with the sheets and views inside of that publish. So once it's in there, I'm just going to pause for 1 second just to allow you to see the interface here. When we navigate to our design collaboration environment, there's going to be a graphic here showing the different personas that we created. So all those folders we created earlier on, these are shown here in a timeline. The dots represent the packages that have been shared and consumed, and here we have a little slider that allows you to scale from the month to the day to the week to the minute to see when those packages are consumed. Now, if you open this up and you can't see all these timelines here, you just got to grab these arrows to pull it down. And here, just the video is going to show you how you can scale through what's been published and consumed. So you can see here there's a number 2 here. There were two shared publications during that day. So when we run this and we want to zoom in to those shared packages, we can start to see them showing up as single circles. We have here down below the sets that we've created. So if I just go back 1 step, we have, as the architect, 3 sets that we've published from Revit, and in those sets we have 11 sheets and 1 3D view, and again these are broken down here. So we've got a clash which just has a model in it. We've got the elevations which have 7 sheets, and then we have some sheets here as well. So these are all the sets that you publish from Revit that you can capture. And then what we want to do over here in the top right hand corner, so if you're the architect and you've published this information, you want to create a package to be shared in the shared folder environment for your engineer or hydraulics engineer to review. And they're going to see this. So these, you can see the model view, and we're going to see all the elevations that we've got here. So when we come to share this out, we're going to give it a name, and we can also add a package description. And this helps for tracking the information. This could be for the curtain walling manufacturer. It could be for a specialist team working on the glazing, the windows. This information can be shared out and consolidated into the key elevations or the key information that they need shared in that package. So all I'm doing is giving it a name, asking that they review it, and of course it's going to pop up and highlight my bad spelling here, so we can right click and correct that. So really simple, we choose the elevations we want to share, and then we save that, and that has now been shared out. You can also show changes here as well. I'm just going to do the basic share, and this is now going to go into the timeline. So if I just pause here for a second, we've now just reviewed the package. We've included the sets. So you can see here this package has been created, package description, elevations are included. They're all just sheets, no 3D views. And this is now, for us as the architect persona, showing up as a solid circle in the timeline. Another thing to note over here on the left, as the architect, I'm showing as the architect as a solid fill here in terms of the name. The other ones are not these personas, so they're just showing as an outline. I can, as the project admin, switch into these different roles and actually open those packages. So if I want to jump across, I can do this. But if you're not the actual author or don't have permissions, you won't be able to do this. So let's pretend now I'm the structural engineer and a package has been shared. Up here in the top right-hand corner, I can see in the architect's timeline that there was a new package shared on this date. It's an open circle, so it means I haven't consumed it. Also, if you look back along the timeline here on different dates, there have been other packages shared that I've chosen not to consume. And I could choose not to consume this for certain reasons. Maybe the architect has done a number of changes that I'm not ready for. Maybe they've deleted things that could affect my dimensioning. All these things could affect it. So the whole purpose of this is to review it before you consume it, before you load that linked file into your Revit environment, and before it could cause any problems to what you're doing. So with that, that's the shared package. Now, we have, as a structural engineer, the option to review this before we consume it. So we can see using the time slider, there were multiple packages shared here. You can see there's a 2 next to those 2 open circles. So there were 2 packages shared within, say, 35 minutes of each other. I'm not going to look at the first one. I'm going to look at the second one, and I'm going to fetch the package contents. It's going to show that here we have 2 sets included, the clash detection set, some sheet sets. And I'm going to open this up in the large model viewer file and review the information and navigate through the sheets. So I can go here, I can see all the model aligned in the sheet space. I can review it. There is a measurement tool here as well. There's the option to select properties in the model. And there's a really powerful tool that allows us to show changes. So for anybody who's been using BIM 360 Team or Docs on its own, you have this feature which allows you to look at what's been added, removed, or modified. I'll just pause this now. Over here on the left, we're looking at 2 different versions published within the same day. We have the green showing what's been added, so I actually linked a file in here. The red highlighting what's been removed, and there's been 19 elements modified, and this relates to the Windows design that's always been changing. Also, for a very complex project, you can filter through these disciplines. So for the architects, the structural engineers, electrical engineers, hydraulics, mechanical, or even just basic objects that have been added to the project, you can filter through this. You can look at modification types also with the metadata embedded in the model. So if some data is changed within a family, the properties or parameters of it, you can also start to highlight this. So we've gone through and we're looking at some of the modified changes. What you'll see here is the change between each version. So when I go and select that modified element, that yellow object, that basic wall, and click each version here, it will instantly represent this in the model. So I'll just go back a second. So we can see when we go from one to the other that the windows have moved, and one's been highlighted as red, being deleted. So some really simple tools but powerful tools to show you what's changed before you choose to consume it. So if we're happy with the model, we hit consume, and that has now loaded that verified model into our consumed folder package. If you're just using Docs, or if you've got someone who's not using Revit and they want to just view it inside of Docs, we have the compare version. So we can do this in both 2D and 3D. We can also just run it against the same view for compare. And we've added tools for phasing, so demolition or new build levels. Should you're a really complex tall building and you just want to look at everything on level 24, you can filter through that, or you can do it via discipline. So you only want to see what the electrical team's been doing. These tools will help you navigate through really complex files. So to run this inside of Docs, you get permission to the folder, you're a non-Revit user, you're not doing the BIM 360 design collaboration, you just want to see what's changed. This is loading it up in the large model viewer. That little green line is just showing it's going through the changes. And then here are the results. So again, what's been added, what's been removed, what's been modified, we can start to see with the same tools, version 8, version 7, version 9, some items have been removed or deleted here. We also have a more complex number of changes here. It does give us also areas and volumes, and we can also filter through these if it's a bit too complex. So you can start to choose, you just want to see what they added. Another thing that's really powerful is you can download this information as a CSV file. So the comma separated values file can be opened up in Excel. This will show you all the detail here in terms of that ID for that wall. So if you want an archive copy of this model compare that you've done on a certain date, you want to capture it locally, you can capture it and save it out as a CSV file by just clicking the download button up in the dialog box just there. So some really powerful tools here to help non-Revit users or other stakeholders in the project understand what's been added, removed, or modified. We are also starting to show a bit more on our analytics and insight. So when you go to your project home site, you're going to be able to see the services that have been initiated on the project and get a dashboard to what's going on. So down the bottom right hand corner here, we have the project home page. So whenever you click on the 9 square box, there'll be a home button, and this will take you to the home page, which gives you insight to the project. So we set up the location of the project when we did the admin, and this locates it on the maps here. It also reads local information from the local weather stations, and we also have field issues, checklists, document issues, and design packages highlighted here. So we hadn't actually started any field issues here. We were still working in the packages. This is a great place to find at the beginning of your day what's happened or what's been published in the design packages, especially if you're working with people in different time zones. You go to your home page and you can see all this information that relates to your project, whether you're in the design phase or perhaps it's out on site, and you can see there's a number of field issues. Another really powerful tool here that's been inside of BIM 360 team with C4R is Desktop Connector. This works with the BIM 360 design collaboration module. So Desktop Connector allows you to replicate the files from your folder Explorer here and connect it into the BIM 360 document management module. So what we have is you can install this. You can get this from the Autodesk Knowledge Network location. It does say BIM 360 Preview when you go to fire this up. You'll need to fire it up and then navigate to your hub and then navigate to the project, and then you can create folders and drag and drop files into those folders, which will sync into your BIM 360 document management folders. So it's a simple process. You literally drag and drop the files. It could be an IFC file if you're working with someone using a tool like ArchiCAD. It could be a CAD file if you're working with somebody who's doing landscape design. You just drag and drop them in, and this will sync in the bottom right-hand corner in the Manage Actions from the Windows System tray. You'll be able to click on Pending Actions and actually see the data syncing across and uploading. And then that's going to be available via the BIM 360 doc. So let's say you've got a DWG or DGN file that you want to link into your Revit project. You want to link it from the cloud, from Desktop Connector. You simply just add or repath, if it was like housed locally. You repath and navigate to that BIM 360 preview, to the hub, to the folder, and you can link it in there. Down the bottom here, what it's going to do to show that it's a CAD format that's linked to the cloud. It will also give you the path here. it will tell you that it's a cloud path type, not a relative or absolute path type. All of that is syncing to the cloud. So other users in other locations can link this information as well. Additional project-based files. So you may want to be sharing share parameters, an NWC for model coordination, Keynote text files, a Dynamo script for the new Dynamo player that we've had inside of Revit, or an image, a graphic for a texture or a decal. All of this can be located in the desktop connector, and all the collaborators can share or reuse this non-Revit file format data. So to get access to the desktop connector, if you haven't been to the Autodesk Knowledge Network site, please check it out. There's a huge amount of information there. This is where you're going to find a lot of tutorials and workflows and answers on the forums to any questions you may have on the product. This will tell you how to download and install and then get up and running to use this for your non-Revit file formats. And just to wrap up before we move into Q&A, so just coming up to 10 minutes to the hour, we have some local customer success stories here. We have Becker, a large engineering company, multidisciplinary company in New Zealand, and they have been using Autodesk Collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 team to collaborate with numerous companies around the world. So out of Auckland and Christchurch, collaborating with people in Manila, also working with people in Sydney, Melbourne, and Jakarta. We've got a great case study on the Autodesk website for this, explaining the challenges that they had, the tight timelines, working with other collaborators offshore. It saved them a huge amount of time. We also have a power user here. This is the Buchan Group. They're working with exceptionally large and complex files with numerous offices in different locations, and they're getting a lot of success out of this application. I think the latest I heard was up to about 9 gigabytes of data. So it doesn't matter whether you're in Australia or New Zealand or in the US, you can still work with large complex models and get excellent results. Corgan and Gensler are using it as well for their cloud collaboration between different offices. And this firm here in Europe starting to benefit from other tools like the mobile devices for doing markups. So if you haven't tested this out, you can open up your models on your mobile device, and we have numerous tools for doing customized revision clouds, adding arrows, adding text, changing the colors, sketching on the top of stuff. All of this is captured in the cloud. It's a single source of truth, and people with default permissions can see that information when it gets released. So the two options, just to summarize up here to get collaborating. If you're on the 2015, 2016, and 2017 versions of Revit, you can keep on using your Collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 team. The new one that we've done today is using the BIM 360 docs environment as the hub with the new BIM 360 design, and this is for collaborators who want to use that staging of shared and consumed workflows. However, you can open it up to be a high-trust model, but it's allowing you to collaborate in real-time and real models. You'll see this graphic a bit on our websites in terms of the high-level points in terms of design, pre-construction, field execution, operation, handover, how it's all connected via Forge. Today we talked about BIM 360 design, which is the authoring, collaboration, and then the detailing when we're bringing out our CAD data. It's the single source of truth, all connected via Forge. It allows you to control the team work sharing with the different permissions. It's going to reduce IT costs instead of having to sit there for 4 hours on a Friday downloading and relinking files. You can track all the information on the project delivery. You can archive it as well with the CSV files in terms of the model compare. You can download all of that. It's a streamlined design review. You don't have to download, print, red pen, scan, mark up PDF, send it to other people. It's all within that one location, and it's connecting the BIM 360 design through the next stages to pre-construction with our model coordination tools, our field tools, and then finally our O&M tools and FM tools for operations and handover. So with that, I'm just going to bring up the questions. For anybody who hasn't typed in any questions, please type it into the question dialog box, and I'll do my best to repeat it and answer it. If I can't answer it today for you, and I see there's a huge amount of questions here, if I can't answer it today for you, please drop us an email via the marketing team, and we will get back to you with a definitive answer. Okay, so I'm just going to start at the top. Question number 1. Is BIM 360 Glue using integration with Forge? So this is for Lee He, who's actually left. Okay, so BIM 360 Glue is working with its own platform at the moment. It's not connected to Forge. However, the new preview of model coordination is connected to Forge. We acquired Glue from Horizontal Systems. It works great with Revit and Navisworks. You can still do clash detection on the cloud. It's just not connected to Forge at the moment. Next question from Tim Jenner. What about Revit 2018.2? It is from Revit 2018.3 and onwards to use BIM 360 Design. 2018.2 you would need to use the traditional C4R with BIM 360 team. Question from Ryan Linehan. Are you aware that admins see a different folder path in the desktop connector compared to the users in the teams in the low trust environment? The admins see project files as the top level folder, but the other users teams do not. If you have admins working in the models at the same time as the low trust users, any links pulled down from the desktop connector will not work then too. Okay, I'm probably going to have to ask you to send me an email on this. It probably requires a longer answer, and I think this relates to desktop connector issues. So Ryan, if you can drop an email to the marketing team, it'll be provided on the invite for this event. They'll get it back to me and I'll give you a more definitive answer on that one. Next question, when linking and collaborating with RVT files from external sources using desktop connector, do the RVT files need to be detached? If they have worksets removed, etc.? What is the supported Autodesk workflow? We're going to have to answer that in a separate email in terms of answering the supported Autodesk workflow. Yeah, I won't be able to answer that right now, but we can talk about that offline. Next question from Carl Timmons. I work more in the civil space, and we are under a directive to try and intercollaborate with buildings, structures, etc. InfoWorks model, Civil 3D, how can we utilize next-gen docs? Tim, drop me an email on that one. We have a specialist who's working on that, Tom Glubovic, and he will be able to give you a bit more of a deeper dive on that. He has been doing some stuff in that space. I will put in my direct email here so everybody can see it, but there is a lot happening in that space, so I'll put my direct email here and I will connect you with Tom Golubovic, and he'll be able to share with you what's been happening in the civil space with Civil 3D and BIM 360 docs and InfoWorks. So I'll just bring that up on the screen so everybody can see that should they want to connect with me directly. Okay, so samuel.mccallows@autodesk.com. Carl, please email me. Ryan, please email me, and I'll send you emails with a bit more information to answer those questions. Peter Hartley, fortunately, he's left, but I'll go for his question. C4R and Teams have been used significantly and successfully, having spoken with Craig Lamont at Becker and Steve at Gensler. This is obvious. I have and are using significantly at the moment on a large project. However, the success you refer to is not relevant here. Yeah, so good point. Those case studies were based on collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 team. BIM 360 Design is the new one. We don't have any case studies on this one yet because it is still very new. So this was a webinar just to promote the new software. And yeah, thanks, Peter. The point was that the case studies were for C4R and BIM 360 team. Next one from Russell Hablin. In a high-trust environment, it is possible for one team to allow access to their model from another team. High-trust environment. So in a high-trust environment with the traditional C4R and BIM 360 team environment, if you invite those people in, you can make them an editor or a viewer. If they're an editor, they're going to be able to access your Revit models. You can't lock them out of it. So you have to have a high level of trust with them. If they're a viewer, they can view the models within BIM 360 team. There are tools to prevent them from downloading the data. You can put passwords on some of the stuff to stop them from viewing it. So the workflow with high trust is that people can access the Revit data if they're an editor, or if they're a viewer, they can access the viewing capability. They can access all folders, but you can put in a couple of permissions to stop them downloading the data. Next question from Tim Jenner. Revit Collaboration or C4R for 2018.2. Yeah, so again, 2018.2 is C4R with BIM 360 team. 2018.3 allows you to use the design collaboration module. Tim Salter, regarding BIM 360 desktop connector, can the files be connected if they are saved over a local area network or a local server? That's a good question. I've had that one before. It does go to your C drive. That's just the default path for it. It's like your local username location. I've heard of some customers being able to set up an IT system to replicate this and put this in another location. I haven't done this myself, but yes, it is going to be at that one location within your C drive within your local machine as opposed to a local server. Request from Phil, record a presentation. Yep, Phil, I'll have Matt Levitt, our marketing team, reach out to you to send the recorded presentation. I'm happy to work with you and your team to go over it again if you want to review it in a bit more depth. So Praveen, can we link CAD files in a cloud environment? Yes, if it is using the BIM 360 Design or C4R tools with Desktop Connector. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe you can do like an AutoCAD, another AutoCAD workflow of linking CAD files, possibly with AutoCAD 360, but I haven't done a deep dive on that product. So within this space, it's via the Revit tools and working with CAD files linked to Revit. Jake Smith, do you think Revit will meet blockchain in the future, and where do you see blockchain answering construction? Helping construction. That's a good question. Email me on that. I'd have to reach out to some of the teams who may be doing some research in that area. Drop me an email on that. I've heard some things that are happening in that space, but we'll have to take that one offline. Next question, Shahaba, so hopefully I'm saying your name right. We are not working in a collaborative environment. The architects' VP structures are on all different platforms. How does BIM 360 Design work in terms of non-work shared models on BIM 360 Design? You don't have to have a work sharing environment oh sorry, work sets. I wonder if that's what you mean. You don't have to have work sets. I mean, work sets will be maintained in this environment. So you're not working in a collaborative environment and you're not linking, you may have to email me with a bit more information on that question. I'm not kind of clear on what you're asking here. If you're not working in a collaborative environment, then the only reason I could see you wanting to use like a C4R or BIM 360 design if you're just working between different architects' offices. One thing we do here for smaller firms is they like the fact that they can work from home using this tool, or staff members may go on maternity leave, but they want to keep working from home on the project. So they're not working in a collaborative environment between architects or engineers, but they're still wanting to work and collaborate within their own teams, but have everything on a single source of truth cloud server as opposed to taking things home on a USB or downloading from a Dropbox. So hopefully that's answered your question, but if not, please email me. Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Mark. Tuan Duo, interested in the video? Okay, great. Tuan, email me. Marketing will also make this available. So please drop a note to marketing if you want to get a copy of this file. And I think that is the last question I have here. So Matt, our marketing guy, I can just see it's a Robert Bird group, so we can maybe drop a note to Tuan where you can download the recorded video from. With that, thank you to everybody for their time. My email is there. I'll just leave it open just to see if there's going to be any more questions come up. Okay, so with that, we're at 5 minutes past 1 o'clock. I'll end the recording in the presentation, and thank you for giving up your time and going through BIM 360 design. Thanks very much.